Hi everyone, I'm Reading with Jack, and today I'm here to share my favourite quotes about books, reading and writing. Many of you will know I keep it no secret that books about books are some of my favourite kinds of books to read because they really tell us why reading is important, how literature shapes our lives, how it changes us as people, how it affects our identities. These kind of books also deal with the process of writing, what it means to be a writer, how writing is a way of expressing ourselves. I thought today it would be quite nice to share some quotes with you from some of my favourite books about books, or just books in general that deal with books and reading. I've talked about these books before on my channel. Last year I actually did a video which was a recommendations video for books about books, so I will link that down below in the description. But I never really shared the way they were written in terms of the tone of the writing, and I thought they'd be quite interesting to kind of quote some of these books so you can really tell how beautifully they are written and just appreciate the quotes in general. The first two quotes I have are from The 13th Tale by Diane Setterfield, which is an amazing book, partly inspired by Jane Eyre. There are a lot of Jane Eyre references, so if you love that classic, you will love this book, and it is really, really bookish. Particularly the first half, we have these amazing descriptions of bookshops, these antique bookshops, and it's just absolutely stunning. People disappear when they die. Their voice, their laughter, the warmth of their breath, their flesh, eventually their bones. All living memory of them ceases. This is both dreadful and natural. Yet for some there is an exception to this annihilation. For in the books they write they can continue to exist. We can rediscover them, their humour, their tone of voice, their moods. Through the written word they can anger you or make you happy. They can comfort you, they can perplex you, they can alter you. All this even though they are dead. Like flies in amber, like corpses frozen in the ice. That which according to the laws of nature should pass away is, by the miracle of ink on paper, preserved. It is a kind of magic. There is something about words. In expert hands, manipulated deftly, they take you prisoner, wind themselves around your limbs like spider silk, and when you are so enthralled you cannot move, they pierce your skin, enter your blood, numb your thoughts. Inside you they work their magic. The next two quotes are from The Shadow of the Wind by Ruiz, Zafón, who is in my opinion the best writer of books about books ever. His work is just amazing. It's so bookish. As soon as you start reading The Shadow of the Wind, you feel like such a bookish person. The first quote that I'm going to share is about the kind of idea of this library. The book basically deals with this place called the Cemetery of Forgotten Books, which is a place in which all books in the world exist, and people have to go there and select a book when they're young, and then they kind of have to save that book and make sure it's protected for the rest of their lives. And the quote that I'm going to share is about when Daniel Sempier, the main character, actually enters this place. Every book, every volume you see here has a soul. The soul of the person who wrote it, and of those who read it and lived and dreamed of it. Every time a book changes hands, every time someone runs his eyes down its pages, its spirit grows and strengthens. A story is a letter that the author writes to himself, to tell himself things that he would be unable to discover otherwise. The next quote is also by Ruiz, Zafón, but it's actually from The Angel's Game, which is the second book in the series. This is a book that deals a lot more with the process of writing, what it means to be a writer, how writers earn their living. A writer never forgets the first time he accepted a few coins or a word of praise in exchange for a story. He will never forget the sweet poison of vanity in his blood, and the belief that, if he succeeds in not letting anyone discover his lack of talent, the dream of literature will provide him with a roof over his head, a hot meal at the end of the day, and what he covets the most, his name printed on a miserable piece of paper that surely will outlive him. A writer is condemned to remember that moment, because from then on he is doomed and his soul has a price. The final two quotes that I have today are from Cassandra, Clare, and she is a writer who doesn't necessarily write books about books, but talks a lot about literature. She's a very bookish author. When I met her at a signing, I could just tell that she was a very bookish person, very knowledgeable about the world of literature. In Clockwork Angel, there's a character called Tessa Gray who is so bookish, and she talks about the importance of reading in two very short quotes. One must always be careful of books and what is inside them, for words have the power to change us. Only the very weak-minded refuse to be influenced by literature and poetry. So everyone, that was it for today's video about my favourite quotes about books, reading and writing. I will possibly maybe even turn this into a series where I talk about more of my favourite books about books in the future. Let me know in the comments if you'd be interested in that. Also let me know what your favourite quotes about books and reading are. I would love to hear what you have to say, because books about books are amazing and I love talking about them. So until next time, I'll see you in the comments and I will see you all again in my next video.